أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. Last week we spoke about Tawheed, and the main point was that knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the ultimate source of creation and worshipping Him and not associating anyone else with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the pure Tawheed. But the question was that does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala practices His authority and sovereignty and lordship directly into the universe, or He Almighty uses some means through which He exercises His authority and His sovereignty? There are some Muslims who believe and clearly say that we cannot call upon anyone other than Allah. We cannot expect any assistance from anyone other from Allah. And it is against Tawheed if we think that calling others will avail or would help. I mentioned few ayat last week to show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the ultimate creator, is the source of everything, but His wisdom, His authority, and His sovereignty are working in this world through certain means. I mentioned a few ayat and I promised you to tell you about their references today. The first ayah was about the Prophet Isa alayhi salam when he made a bird or a piece of clay and made a shape of a bird, then blew in it and it became a real bird. This is in Surah number 3, Surah Al-Imran, ayah number 49. And regarding the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, who said that when I become ill and fall ill, it is Allah who cures me. This was in Surah number 26, Surah Al-Shu'ara, the poets, ayah number 80. Regarding that quote from the Quran, which said, Yusuf told his brothers, take my shirt and put it in the face of my father, he will regain his sight. That is in Surah number 12, ayah 93. I said that people who seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala supposed to come to the Prophet and ask him to intercede and help them. And without his help, the acceptance of repentance and the forgiveness is not promised in the Quran. And that ayah is وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ إِذْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ جَاءُوكَ فَاسْتَغْفَرُوا اللَّهَ وَاسْتَغْفَرَ لَهُمُ الرَّسُولُ لَوَجَدُوا اللَّهَ تَوَّابًا رَحِيمًا. This is in Surah An-Nisa, Surah number 4, ayah 64. Then we noticed that the whole life is the work of Allah. Some people prefer saying the work of God, but I prefer using the Quranic and the Islamic terminology, it is Allah. Call him God, no problem. Khuda or Theo, doesn't matter. But the Islamic term for it is Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of life. Life is a gift from Allah, and no one else can give that gift to anyone. But Allah tells us that this life is made possible through water. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. And this is in Surah Al-Anbiya, Surah number 21, Ayah 30. And in the end, we notice that ayah referring to Asma al-Husna, the most beautiful names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is in Surah number 17, ayah number 110. To conclude and start our new subject today is that although Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of life, and no one else can create anything. Indeed, in Surah Al-Hajj, the last page or the last few ayat towards the end of Surah Al-Hajj, we read that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly says that people or those who have been associated with Allah cannot create a fly. لن يخلقوا ذبابا ولو اجتمعوا له. This is towards the end of Surah Al-Hajj. So no one can create, even a fly. At the time of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam, somebody came to Imam Sadiq, said that you say that Allah is the only creator. He said, of course. And after a debate and discussion, the gentleman said that I claim that I am the creator. I have been created something. I've given life. Said, how? Said that I arranged for 2 bricks and I put some sugar and certain things. And now when I open these 2 bricks, I found many worms there. So I have created these worms. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam very, very simply argued with him, if you are the real creator of those worms, tell me how many of them are male and how many are female. Because the creator should know exact details of what he created. So because he was unable to say which one is male and which one was female, okay, Imam nullified his argument. لا يخلق ذبابا. They cannot. So we say that, and this is the true belief, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only creator. No one else can create anything. But this creation comes through some natural causes, some means, some people. And that's why Isa alayhi salam said, أني أحيي الموتى. I revive the dead. I bring to life those who are dead. أني أحيي الموتى. But, بإذن الله, with Allah's permission. And again, he said that I will do the shape of bird from a clay. I blew in it, and after that, it becomes a real bird and flies. And again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only is the one who can bring the sight of a blind. But Allah can give that power to Yusuf's shirt. A shirt, just a shirt, a fabric, like any other fabric, like any other shirt. But with the power given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that would make a lot of change. Call it miracle. Whatever you call it. Call it extraordinary event. Okay? So when Ibrahim alayhi salam said that when I become ill, Allah will cure me, this does not contradict with the need of us or Ibrahim himself to go to a doctor and consult him when we fall ill. So it is the medicine, it is the doctor, it is consulting someone who is expert in his field, whatever it is, heart attack or eye problem, infection or kidney problem. Yeah, you consult them, you act upon their advice, their medicine, go through the process of whatever treatment is there. But the real effect is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah's power, Allah's wisdom, Allah's ability to cure comes through certain means. Those means are the doctor. Or Allah makes everything alive by means of water. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. So water is the source of life to human beings, to animals, to the vegetation, to the plants, without which all would die. Yeah? But who is the creator and the provider and the one who makes the water available for people to survive? It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we made water as what? Means for quenching thirst or making life available to people, to the creatures, to the plants, to animals, to everything. So, all these come only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is the real tawheed. We do not associate anyone with him. We do not believe anyone who thinks or believes that there is any power next to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, associate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has some role in creation, in provision, in the cure, in making the natural causes to work for themselves independently. Okay? This is the wrong belief. But we say that all natural causes are made so because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them this ability and this power. So this is the conclusion of our last meeting when we spoke about Tawheed and how we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the ultimate source of existence and all bounties. But this does not negate the idea that there are means who help us in using those favors and those bounties to survive, enabling us to run our normal life. Today, our subject is very, very important issue, and that is intercession or shafa'ah. There are Muslims. Indeed, I listened once to a lecturer in one of the Muslim countries. At the university, he was saying that shafa'ah or intercession is like cheating in the exams. Someone who did not work hard, someone who did not study, cheats and copies, and the professor or the lecturer gives the full marks, whilst someone who worked very, very hard gives the same mark, and this is not right. It is not fair, because this one was lazy, did not work, and wasted the time and just copied from someone else. No. Intercession is not cheating. Intercession is not bribery. Intercession is not against the Tawheed. To know that, let's examine and go through the ayat in the Quran which speak about intercession of shafa'ah. And don't forget that we are raising this subject only because there are Muslims who object intercession of the Prophet and the Imams, and sometimes attack the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam because they believe in Shafa'ah, and Shafa'ah is wrong, because it leads to believe that someone else other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do something. And this is not Tawheed. We have to believe that only Allah is the real cause, the real doer, the real creator, the real decision maker. So if someone else is combined with him and has a role in his decisions, this is wrong. So for us and for all Muslims, you know that the first and the primary source of study is the Holy Quran, because it is the word of Allah. It is the revelation who comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there is no falsehood to come close to the Quran. لا يأتيه الباطل من بين يديه ولا من خلفه. So no falsehoods come close to the Quran. It is the ultimate truth. Now, let's deal with the ayat which speak about shafa'ah or intercession in the Quran. We notice that there are two groups of ayat. Group number one talk about that intercession or shafa'ah does not avail. And the second group of ayat speak about the reality that to work and avail, intercession needs Allah's permission. Let me give you the references for both groups first, and let's discuss them in depth. The first group are three ayat. Surah number 2, ayah 48. This is Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 48. The second is Surah number 2, ayah 1, 2, 3. And the third ayah in this group is Surah Al-Muddathir, which is Surah number 74, ayah 48. Let's read them. The first ayah, which is Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 48, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا لا تجزي نفس عن نفس شيئا ولا يقبل منها شفاعة. In the second ayah, which is Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 123, again we have واتقوا يوما لا تجزي نفس عن نفس شيئا ولا يقبل منها عدل ولا تنفعها شفاعة. So there is some addition to what is in ayah 48. ولا يقبل عنها عدل ولا يقبل منها عدل. And the last surah, the last ayah is فما تنفعهم شفاعة الشافعين. So all these three ayat speak about one fact, that intercession does not avail. What do you think about those Muslims or anyone, any researcher who wants to rely only on few ayat and certain parts of the Quran and forget about the other ayat which deal with the same subject? Is that right? Can anyone open any page of the Quran, picks up one ayah, they say, this is the real message of the Quran, and does not relate to all other ayat which are related to the same subject? Can we accept that? By the way, when I was a little boy in Iraq, there was a song, and by the way, all religious families would not listen to any songs at all. No radio at home, no songs. But when you pass through the street and there is radio on, so you would hear something even in your way to your destination. So there was one line of Arabic poetry which is an insult to the religion, but those who were singing it in Baghdad would not even give it a damn and say, all right. The line of poetry would say, ما قال ربك ويل للذي شربوا بل قال ربك ويل للمصلين. We have in the Quran, ويل للمصلين, woe on those who pray. But it continues. There is something in addition to that. Not woe on the people who pray, full stop. No. الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون. Woe on those who pray and they do not concentrate during their prayer. Okay? So that person, that singer, would say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say in the Quran, woe on those who drink wine. He said, woe on those who pray. Okay, is that correct to make such a conclusion? No. Because the ayah says, وَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. So if you stick to ayah number 1 and forget about ayah number 2 and ayah number 3, which are related to the same subject, this is not the good research. Forget about Islam. Leave alone that this is un-Islamic. But in any research, you have to be methodical and you have to try to collect as many facts as they are related to the same subject of your research. Now, so you can't say that I read in 3 ayahs of the Quran that intercession does not avail and come to this conclusion, there is no intercession. And those who believe intercession of the Prophet and the Imams of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam are doing exactly against the Quran. Now, there are 6 other ayat belong to the second group, and let's read them. They are on the same subject of shafa'ah and intercession. The first is in Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah number 2, Ayah 255. This is known to most of you or all of you, that is Ayatul Kursi. Ayatul Kursi, whether it is 1 ayah or 3 ayat, it is up to hum fiha khalidun. We are not going to discuss that, but this is part of Ayatul Kursi. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. Then wasi'a kursiyuhu as-samawati wal-ard. Then من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه. من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه. Who is going to intercede with him, by him, without his permission? And this is his, Allah's. In second ayah, which is in Surah Maryam, Surah number 19, ayah 87. We read, لا يملكون الشفاعة إلا من اتخذ عند الرحمن عهدا. They do not have the power of intercession with Allah except for those who have taken a covenant with the All-Beneficent. Later on we are going to see who are these people who have taken a covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the ayah is clear. لا يملكون الشفاعة, they do not have the power of intercession إلا except من اتخذ عند الرحمن عهدا, those who have a covenant with Allah, or the all beneficent. And we read last week that قل ادعوا الله أو ادعوا الرحمن أيما تدعو فله الأسماء الحسنى. Whether you say Allah or you say Ar-Rahman, you are talking about the same person. Third, it is in Surah Taha, Surah number 20, Ayah 109. يومئذ, and this is about the day of judgment, لا تنفع الشفاعة, the intercession does not work, does not avail, إلا من أذن له الرحمن, except for those who have permission of Allah, ورضي له قولا. There are two elements. First, a permission given to them with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by Allah. And second, Allah had approved their word. And we are going to see what is the meaning of approved the word. What is the meaning of those who have covenant with Allah? Number 4. In Surah Al-Anbiya, Surah number 21, Ayah 28, we read, وَلَا يَشْفَعُونَ إِلَّا لِمَنِ ارْتَضَى وَهُمْ مِنْ خَشْيَتِهِ مُشْفِقُونَ. They do not intercede except for those who have been approved or who have been, Allah has been pleased with them. وَهُمْ مِنْ خَشْيَتِهِ مُشْفِقُونَ. They are fearful from Allah's might. In Surah Saba, which is Surah number 34, Ayah 23, read, وَلَا تَنْفَعُ الشَّفَاعَةُ عِنْدَهُ. The intercession does not avail with Allah إِلَّا لِمَنْ أَذِنَ لَهُ, except for those who have been given the permission. And the last ayah is in Surah Al-Najm, Surah 53, Ayah 26. وَكَمْ مِنْ مَلَكٍ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ. How many angels in the heavens? لَا تُغْنِي شَفَاعَتُهُمْ. Those intercession does not avail إِلَّا مِنْ بَعْدِ أَنْ يَأْذَنَ اللَّهُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيَرْضَى. Except for those who have given permission by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah wills to please them and accept their intercession.